Hey friends, and welcome back. Today we're going to look at how do you plan or sketch out your sabbatical. Now I say sketch out because a sabbatical is all, the essence behind it is about setting a trajectory. It requires some fluidity. So we're going to look at how do we sketch one of those out. This kind of follows on from a previous video I've done in terms of how to prepare for your sabbatical. So the link to that is going to come up on the screen now. So check that one out. And then we will look into together how do you plan or sketch out your sabbatical. So as a bit of a background, I've just taken a 4-month sabbatical, just coming back from that, and it's been a game changer for me in terms of my health, well-being and setting the future trajectory for me. So I just wanted in this video and to others to share with you things that I've learned from it, so that you can be fruitful in your sabbatical and maybe help you avoid some of the sort of pitfalls and things that I've come across. So the idea to this video in terms of how to kind of sketch things out is to look at three phases of things that you need to consider. And then there'll be the equivalent to Steve Jobs' one last thing or one last thought in terms of this subject area. Now, while the principles within this video should apply to whatever type of sabbatical you're taking, this really does lend itself most to those sabbaticals that are in response to burnout or needing to take for a break from work to reorientate life. It's that kind of thing, but hopefully this should help you in whatever sabbatical you're taking. So let's get into things and look at the first point. Before we continue, I'd just like to ask a favour. I would love to get this content out to as many people as I can do, and that's only done with your help. So if you could subscribe, share and like this video and pass it on to your own communities, that would be amazing. Thank you. So point 1 or phase 1 is all about recovery. Now life is a battle and we have to realise that, and so a sabbatical is about taking time out to recover. Now you might be entering a sabbatical either on your knees or feeling okay, but it's still you still need time to recover. Battles create wounds that we need to give space for to heal, just like in a physical sense and an emotional sense. Time, we can't rush this thing, it just takes time. I suppose when you think of it as a physical wound healing, you can put all the right stuff on it to help it, but at the end of the day it just takes time. So this first phase of recovery is critical and it sets everything up for the next 2 phases. I'd imagine or really think around 40 to 50% of your time should be focused on recovery and giving space to do that. Now you might say to me, James, that's a lot of time to do that, but trust me, you'll need it, and you're just giving space over to it is important. So what does this look like? Well, it looks like having a holiday, really, taking time out from what a normal routine would be. So it's scrapping normal routines or what you've kind of got used to doing in your season of battle, and just getting away from it all. It's about being. It's about not trying to achieve, and just giving yourself a break. It's about not putting the alarm clock on, but just letting your body naturally wake up and just let it do its thing, just to relax. Now I realise that, especially if you have a family and you're taking a sabbatical and life is going on in the family, this might not be the easiest thing to do, but try and push for as much as this as possible. Really, really do try. Final point to remember on this first phase is it's not easy. If you go back to the analogy of the battle, you're going from probably a high adrenaline, high achievement rhythm at high pace environment to one where you're trying to flatten the line to rest, and it's really not easy. But as I said, your wounds need time to heal, and they're not going to heal if you're continually exercising, doing things. This was so hard for me. This is probably maybe one of the hardest things in the sabbatical. I didn't realise how hard it would be really to lower the pace, and to effectively just sit there as you would do in a hospital and let your wounds heal. But trust me, it's important that you do. And when you feel that you're just about recovered, then take the same amount of time again. Give yourself more time, because if you don't, when you begin to press into things, you'll just, fall in a heap and just realise that there's no acceleration there when you put your foot down on the pedal. So that's the first point, and it's a critical one to set everything else in motion well and set the trajectory right. First phase is to recover. So point 2, or phase 2, is to re-energise. Now, having come off a busy time into your sabbatical, you should, or most likely, be low on energy. The recovery phase, phase 1, would have taken energy for your wounds to heal, your physical and emotional wounds. Therefore, this phase is all about replenishing. I've said in the name is re-energising, getting that battery charged up again and filling your tank up. To be put simply, it is about having fun and doing the things you enjoy. So I think around 25 to 30% of your time over the course of the sabbatical should be spent on this, but in this middle phase, this is what the main focus should be. So you probably just need to ask yourself the question, what do I like doing? What re-energises me? Where do you have fun? What just, recreates you and just makes you feel alive? Now for me, I love to sort of go spend time with the family, watch movies, play golf, read, just have times of quiet with a drink, a tea, and some cake, something like that. Now that's for me. Yours might be different, but whatever it is, it's important that you take time out to be able to do this, and to just get that time where you can spend time, just feel recreated and alive. And one thing I'd say about this phase is it's important not to action creative thoughts. And as you begin to, re-energise, then it should spark some creativity. You'll be having those times where you're just enjoying yourself, and those creative thoughts will come into your mind. Now, if they're ones where they sort of, create momentum in that recreation process, that re-energising process of things that you would like to do, then it's fantastic. So if it really serves you inwardly, then great, action them. But if they're ones where it's about giving out and work-based or anything like that, then I'd say don't action them. Note them down on a bit of paper and leave them there. If you try and action them straight away or put them into motion, all that will happen is you'll undo the good work that you've been doing already, and you won't get very far because you'll just run out of energy at the end of the day. So if you do have creative thoughts that are really focused on giving out or work-based or something really future orientated, then just note them down, leave them. You can pick them up in the next phase once you are re-energised. So phase 3, or point 3, is to reorientate. Now you've recovered, you've re-energised yourself, so now is the point where you can begin to look at maybe fulfilling those goals that you set out for the sabbatical in the first place. Now, being in this position of having recovered and re-energised will give you the perspective to be able to look at your goals and achieve it, what you want to achieve, and reorientating things in a fresh and unique way. You'll be raring to go. Now I'd imagine around about 25 to 30% of time over the entire sabbatical should be spent focused on this. Again, you'll say to me, James, that's not enough, but as we know, 60 to 70% of things is all about preparation, and that's what the recovery and re-energising phases have been about. So now you should be ready to reorientate yourself, and this is all about, setting that trajectory of when you're exiting your sabbatical. It's kind of setting that point or goal where you can now think, right, this is how I want to exit, and this is how I want to push off into the future. So what could this look like? Well, it's about adding back a bit of structure and routine into your life. It's about putting those rhythms back in that are going to help you for the future. It's about testing perhaps some things out to see whether they work or not. It can involve learning a new skill where you think, actually, this is the future trajectory. Let's take some time out to learn a new skill. And I suppose ultimately it's deciding what is maybe a rock in the bucket for the future and what's not. What does the daily rhythm of things look like? Now for me, having gone through my sabbatical, I completely changed the rhythm and routine of how I did each day, and really put my dealing with my chronic fatigue illness first. I also decided not to go back to my previous job and role, but instead just create my own coaching organisation and business where I want to help people be as fruitful as they can be. So those were the kind of the changes that I looked at, and the trajectory that I set coming out of the sabbatical was very different to the one that I went in. It's important to still remember that you are on sabbatical, so don't go at everything all guns blazing as though you're maybe back at work or doing something back at 100%. This reorientating phase should be done alongside a balance of rest and re-energizing. Otherwise, again, you're just going to really sort of come up short really quickly. So do remember that when you're, I suppose, in this reorientating phase, to pace yourself well. So what next? If you have the opportunity to take a sabbatical, then do it. It will be life-changing for you and life-giving as well. Hopefully it will lead to a new season of fruitfulness for you. On a sabbatical, do remember 3 phases. 1, take plenty of time to recover. 2, re-energize yourself, recharge that battery. And 3, then after those 2, reorientate. Look to how you want to exit the sabbatical and the future trajectory you want to go on. So those are the 3 important phases. My one final thought though is perhaps a further phase, one that I forgot when I embarked on the sabbatical and came out of it, and that is the whole aspect of re-entry, which is really, really important. So what I've done is produced a separate video really just focusing on that one point, and giving you, I suppose, some thoughts and insight into how to re-enter well, learning from maybe some of the things that I didn't do quite so well. So I hope that will be helpful. The links for that will come up as I'm speaking now, but please do take a look at that as a part of your sabbatical learning. So if you've got any questions or want a bit more detail, then please put those in the comment section below. I'll do my best to come back to you and provide a bit more insight and help, or point you in the right direction to some of the other resources that I've produced on the subject. Some of these will be coming up now. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful to you. Be fruitful, and I'll see you in the next video.